it's Anya here, and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks Crochet. And in today's video we are making a square. Actually, this square is made up of single crochets, and I had never made a square out of single crochets. I know, it's hard to believe, but when I came up with the idea of using single crochets for a project, I will show you the project in the next video, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. But I needed a square made up of single crochets. Now, of course, you can do that in rows, but then I thought you can do that in rounds, going round and round like we do with a granny square, where we use double crochets and where we use clusters. But of course, for a single crochet square, there are some differences. So I am going to show you today how to make a single crochet square because, yeah, I'd never made one. And just for clarity, I use American terminology. So today I am going to use some Aran yarn. I am going to use the prescribed hook for it. It doesn't matter what yarn you use. You can use DK and the prescribed hook for that, or the hook that you usually use for the thickness of yarn that you have at hand. Just make this square along with me as a trial, as a sampler, and then you can decide later on what project you're going to incorporate it in. And of course, like I said, I have got a project, so I'm very excited about that. You will also need 4 stitch markers. And there's a reason for that. The stitch markers will make your life so much easier. So we're going to get started with a magic circle. So you make a cross around your fingers like this. You put your hook under the strand that's at the front there. You pick up the back strand. You twist your hands and you bring through the loop like so. Then you go back to that same back strand and you're going to twist again and bring it through the loop that you created earlier. You can now take your fingers out and this is your magic circle. In this magic circle we are going to create 8 single crochets. So I'm going to get started by going into the magic circle, bringing up a loop from my working yarn, then yarning over and pull through the 2 loops. So this is my first single crochet. This is the first V of my single crochet. And as we are going to finish our round in a slip stitch, we won't be needing to make 8 single crochets. We're going to make 7 and then use the slip stitch as our 8th one. So keeping your magic circle tensioned, working over the location where there are 2 strands, you go in, you pull up a loop, you yarn over and you pull through 2. So that's my second stitch and I'm going to do 7 of them. So 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And now we're going to close up the magic circle by putting the stitches between your thumb and your fingers like that. I like to do that so it doesn't start curling when you pull the end here. So now your magic circle is going to get smaller. Don't close it up completely, just make sure that it is shaping nicely. And when you count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you're going to go under the 7th V with your working yarn. You're going to make a slip stitch. This now gives you 8 V's going around the outside of your work, and we are going to pull the end again whilst holding your stitches flat so your circle shapes itself nicely. Now you can pull this more, but I would wait until we have a little bit more fabric going on here. Now for round 2, we are going to get started with a chain 1. In the first stitch we're going to place 1 single crochet. So you go under both the strands of the V, you pull up a loop and you do your single crochet. And this one is your side. Now in the next stitch we are going to create a corner, and a corner is made up of 3 single crochets. So that's very simple. So let's go in there and do 3 single crochets. 1, 2 and 3. Now this is going to make your corner, and indeed you can see that it is a little bit cornery, but for the next round we are going to place our corner in the middle stitch of this corner. And of course it's going to be hard to recognize these, so this is where the stitch markers come into play. We are going to place the stitch marker into that second single crochet that we placed into that stitch. And doing this, it's going to be a little bit time consuming and you're going to have to take them out and put them back each time. But doing this takes away the guesswork and will keep your square square, because you're not going to create extra stitches somewhere. You're not going to go into the wrong stitch to create your corner. You'll always be in the correct stitch. So this is our first corner made. Now we're going to repeat this process another 3 times, going around our circle here. So let's place 1 single crochet in the next stitch for a side, and then in the next stitch we are going to place 3 single crochets, 1, 2 and 3. You're going to take your next stitch marker and you're going to place it in that middle single crochet that you have just done. There we go, and that is your second corner. Let's continue. 1 single crochet for the side, in the next stitch 3 single crochets for the corner. And once again I'm placing my stitch marker in the next stitch, 1 single crochet for the side, and then in the next one my 3 single crochets for the corner. Voila. There we go. So now we are going to have to close our round, and normally we let the chain 1 act as a stitch and then we place a slip stitch over it, and that then becomes a stitch. But of course here that would make an extra stitch. So the chain 1, we are going to just make it disappear into our stitches. We're going to go over this stitch here and we're going to go into this one here, and the slip stitch that we are going to make is going to lie over that first single crochet that we did. Okay, so really this single crochet now has 2 tops, but that's okay because we need to stick to the correct amount of stitches. This is a workaround for round 2 only. We will do it differently in the next round and for the rest of the square. And now for round 3. So now we're going to chain 1, and now here we have 1 location. So this is where we're going to place 1 single crochet for the side. We will finish the rest of our single crochets on this side when we finish our round, because here, as you can see, there is a stitch marker. That means that is where I am going to have to place my 3 single crochets for the corner. So take out the stitch marker, into the next stitch for 3 single crochets, 1, 2 and 3, and back in with the stitch marker into that second stitch, and it becomes a little habit, and you'll just really enjoy knowing the exact space for your corners, especially when your square becomes larger. Then we're going to place single crochets all the way along until we meet the next stitch marker. So in this round we are doing 3 single crochets on the side, and of course we've got those 3 single crochets in the stitch markered location, and so next row will grow, of course, and we will have more stitches on the side. And I think having the stitch markers are a lifesaver in this project. Now when you get here, we can do that little trick again of having this chain count as our stitch and going under the first V that you see after the chain, and then doing your slip stitch to close around and making that count as our stitch. So now we're going to chain 1, and now from here on we are going to have to do 2 single crochets, so 1 and 2, and then we will do the rest of this row when we finish our round here, of course. And then here we have the stitch with the stitch marker, so that means I'm going to be placing 3 single crochets in there to make my corner, and 3, there we go, and of course replacing your stitch marker, because that will make life so much easier, and you'll know straight away that that is where you are doing your corner. And also here we started with, so this was our starting round, then here our first round of our square, so to speak, we did 1 single crochet on each side. In the next round we did 3. In this round we will do 5, because the sides will grow with 2 single crochets each time, okay? And of course in the next round it will be 7, and then 9, and so on. So here we go. I'm ready for a corner. Voila, replace the stitch marker, and off we go again, doing the single crochets for the side. There we go, those are done. Once again here, time for a corner. And really this is how you are going to continue until you reach the size of square that you need. Now I can hear you say, it's all very well trying out a new square, but this is in single crochet. It doesn't grow very quickly. You'll be doing lots of rounds before actually you have a sizable square. You're dealing with these stitch markers all the time, and while this is a nice technique to know, while it's nice to know how to make a single crochet square, what are we going to do with it? Well, I have a project up my sleeve, and you will be wanting to make this square. So yes, let's see if we can get the basics right first by making sure we know how to do this square, and then let's see what we do with it. So we're at the end of the round, and after the corner here I have done 2 single crochets, Before the corner here I did 2 single crochets, and this round we are doing 5 single crochets on the side. So this one here, yes, this chain 1, we are going to make it count as the body of our stitch. We're going to go under the next usable V and do a slip stitch to close the round. So I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to start the next round. And this way you will be doing all your rounds until your square is big enough. Each round increases by 8 stitches. So for now, I think this is large enough. I have really enjoyed learning how to make a single crochet square. I had never made one before. I think this is quite a nice way of making it, and yeah, I do have to say I love the look of it as well. So now the question of course is, what am I going to do with it? Well, I'm going to remake it in a different type of yarn, and I am going to turn it into something very useful. So if you want to find out, make sure you look out for the next video. Consider subscribing. In the meantime, leave me a thumbs up and a comment down below if you hadn't made this or what you might want to make with this. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!